Okay, so if you watch the Disney trip vlog, you'll know that I promised that I would do an updated version of my Disney parks tier list. I made one probably a few years back, whenever the tier list craze was first starting to pick up. Completely incorrect, completely outdated, all based on like completely obscure childhood memories from when I was like 5. But now that I've gone back to all the parks except for Animal Kingdom in a modern capacity, I feel that I have the the new insight, the new appreciation to be able to recreate this. So I'm gonna have a go at doing just that. I'm gonna have a go at remaking this tier list, and I'm gonna give you my takes, my incredibly hot takes. There are definitely, having gone on some rides this time, there are definitely some big adjustments to the tier list. So if there's anything I know is going to be a huge adjustment, I'll probably break into it. But first off, first, let's get a nice sip of tea, nice cup of tea. Okay, so first off, I don't do this SD bullshit. I go God tier, high tier, mid tier, low tier, and shit tier, because I feel like that encompasses the full gamut a lot betterly, and letters are so abstract that I think this is the best way to do it. So you know what, we'll go in the order that it gives it to us. I'm gonna say Hall of Presidents. Oh, dumb. I want to add 2 more rows here, and these rows are going to be sorry, going to be don't remember clearly and haven't been on. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to throw Hall of Presidents in the don't remember clearly. I'm pretty sure I went on as a kid, just don't have enough memory of it. So does the Steamboat count as a ride? That is the question, because I feel like I have been on every Magic Kingdom ride, but I've never been on the Steamboat. So I'm going to mark that as haven't been on. Dumbo, shit tier, right off the bat. Didn't go on it this time, but I feel... I don't even know what that is. Enchanted Tales. You know what? I'm going to Google anything on my phone that I don't... I'm not actually aware of. I thought I knew everything, but I guess not. Enchanted Tales. And I'm going to... There's certain bets that you'll see. Enchanted Tales, Disney Park. I guess it's like a show at Magic Kingdom. Haven't been on it. Anything I don't remember clearly enough, I'm going to move. Like It's a Small World. I haven't been on it since I was 5. Gonna move it there. Same with Teacups. Philhar Magic, same shit. Peter Pan's Flight. Now, this I also haven't been on in a long time, but I just remember the queue being absolutely miserable. Like, it would be a fine dark ride, like probably a mid-tier dark ride, but the issue is that the queue is always hours upon hours long and just does not equate to the worth of the ride. And I think I have to take that into account. Like, I think I have to put it... And, you know, I'm tempted to say shit tier just because I have only negative memories, but I remember, from what I can remember, the dark ride being pretty satisfactory. So I think I'm going to give it a low. I'm going to give it the benefit of doubt of a low tier. Carousel, it's a fucking carousel. I don't know if I've ever actually been on this carousel, but every carousel is a carousel, so I feel confident in putting it in a low tier. Like, you know, it's not shit, because it's good, fine for what it is, but, like, you know. So this is an interesting one. I've been on the original Snow White Scary Adventures, but never on the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and I don't know how different the rides are, so I think I have to put it in Don't Remember Clearly. Fucking Camel, shit tier, terrible ride. The Barnstorm, I remember that being a fun little coaster, but then again, like, it's been since I was 5, so I think I have to put it in Don't Remember Clearly. Same with Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. A lot of the Fantasyland rides, I feel like, fall into that category. Under the Sea with Little Mermaid. I think I've been on that. It's like a Little Mermaid show, I think. Yeah, I'll put that in Don't Remember Clearly. Astral Orbiter. Okay. Zach and I remember going on this as a child, finally went on it. It's probably the best of those rides out of like the Campbell's, Dumbo, and this. Like, I would say it definitely takes the top of that tier, but it is what it is. And the theming's pretty cool. You get a lot of good sights. You get to see like the contemporary very well from there. So I think, mid-tier. I had fun with it. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. I think just because Men in Black exists at Universal, it's like, knowing what this could be in comparison to that, like, kind of just makes it a, I'm not going to say it's shit tier, because it's not shit, but, like, I'm going to move it to low tier. If Men in Black didn't exist, maybe it would have a higher spot, but you know what I mean. Laugh Floor, don't think I remember clearly enough. I remember enjoying it, but, okay, Space Mountain. Here we go. Best queue in the park, possibly. One of the best queues. Here's the question. I'm going to decide right now, because I don't know if I want this in God tier or high tier. Right now, you know what I'm going to do? I think, it's a quick coaster. Very fun. Theming is immaculate. The queue is incredible. The queue music is incredible. I think for now, I'm going to put it in high tier, see what I put in God tier, and then just maybe reevaluate. But Tomorrowland Speedway, have not been on, so that's one I haven't been on. People Mover. Okay, went on it for the first time on this new trip. I very much enjoyed it. I had been hyping it up for years, and it wasn't like, it wasn't the God tier ride that I thought it would be. But, it's an excellent addition. I'm very lucky we have it here, and I'm not in California, so I'm going to put it in high tier. Carousel of Progress. This is another one where I'm like, do I want this in God tier or high tier? It was probably my favorite attraction I went on during the day at Magic Kingdom. I really appreciated it. I love the vibe. This is another one that I think I'm going to put in high tier for now and might reevaluate and see what I put in God tier and then maybe change my mind. The train, haven't been on it. I don't feel that counts as a ride. Same with the boat. Okay, Spaceship Earth. We were incredibly lucky because we were told that we were informed that this ride was closed forever, or for such significant remodeling that it wouldn't be the same thing. And you know what? It was open when we went, and I got to go on it. It was like the finale of the Epcot day. And you know what? I can't express how much I loved it. Like, I didn't remember it that fondly as a kid. I didn't remember it as a must-do to the point when I went back to Epcot in 2018 to drink around the world with my dad. Like, we didn't even go on it. We didn't even bother. But you know what? It's a God tier. It's possibly my favorite dark ride. I'd have to think it through, but it could be. And I think what kind of adds to that is, like, it's the last surviving... I guess Living with the Land counts in that, but it's, like, one of the last surviving classic, like, Epcot dark rides. And, which Epcot was known for in the 80s and 90s, but kind of lost that. But the issue is it's going to close soon anyway, so I'm giving it a God tier. Mission Space, I remember really enjoying this as a kid, but knowing the whole Horizon saga and knowing what it replaced really sours my taste on it. But you know what? In order to give it a merciful way out, give it a fair chance, I'm going to say Don't Remember It Clearly, because it has been a very long time. Test Track, this was fun. They've kind of changed how the ride works, and you get to design cars that compete against each other, which is a really cool little gimmick, especially if you're there with friends. I think it's really cool. If you're going with strangers, whatever. But, like, I think the friend experience is where you have, like, two groups designing cars and you get to go on the ride. was pretty cool, and it was fun, and I had a great time. Nothing but laughs. So I'm gonna put it mid tier. I think it's a fair mid tier. Like, it's not amazing or anything, but it's a fun time. The Seas with Nemo and Friends. I was near blackout drunk when I went on this. I cannot say, to be honest. Even though it was recent, I'm gonna say don't remember it clearly. Turtle Talk with Crush, for memes, it's god tier, obviously, for memes, but I'm gonna be serious here, and I'm gonna say it's a fun experience for kids, but I was also incredibly drunk, so I'm gonna say don't remember it clearly. Soaring Around the World. Overrated. The scent system is cool, where you get to smell shit. That's pretty awesome. Wish they made candles of all the scents from this ride. I think they borrowed some of the scents from Horizons, which is a cool little piece of lore. Patrick Warburton obviously adds to it. But I would also say this is mid tier. I'm not as big of a fan as a lot of people are of it. I think it's a good ride, solid. I don't think it deserves, I wouldn't wait 2 hours for it. I would wait 45 minutes probably at most. Here we go, Living with the Land. Finally got to go on this on the most recent trip, and I was, I loved it. It was great. I was expecting it to be god tier, but I don't think it's just below Spaceship Earth for me, which I have as god tier. So I feel like I can't put it at the same level. Would I say it's equal to Space Mountain and Carousel of Progress? Yeah, probably. So I feel like the better place for this is actually high tier. Believe it or not. Still a very huge fan of the ride, but very happy got to go on it. But still. Okay. This is probably the biggest change in this list right here. One of the biggest changes in this list here. Journey into Imagination. My rose tint, is that what it is? Rose tinted glasses. I don't fucking remember the expression. My rose tinted glasses view of this was from my childhood, combined with blurring that into the old iterations of the ride that I've heard about and read a lot about. I did not really fully grasp that this wasn't the same attraction as the old one, and that is a new shitty thing. I thought in my head, what I understood it as is that they just replaced the Dreamfinder with God, I can't remember his name, the guy from Monty Python, and that was the only change I have. But when I actually went on it and read more and learned more about it, it was the biggest drop off. I had it in S tier from my childhood memory, god tier I mean, from my childhood memories, and it is definitely not god tier. I'm gonna go as far as to say it went from god tier to shit tier. Somehow this ride is over 20 years old, I think. And it is somehow still not finished. There are full sections that have nothing in them of the ride, just audio. And it's you could tell, they were intending to put something there, and they just didn't. And it is absolute trash. And Figment rips a wet fart on you. So, it is abysmal in every way. Defunct ride walking. Just replace it with the old one. It exists. You made it already. Just go backward. But, they're going to bulldoze this any moment now, I have a feeling. It's just I assume it just exists for a crowd control ride right now, where it's keeping people out of the walkways and pathways and into an air-conditioned place for a little bit. I think that's the only reason it's still open. But yeah, absolute shit tier. Absolute trash. Grand Fiesta Tour. This was pretty shitty, too. Looking at what I have in low tier, I think I gotta put it in shit tier as well. It was just run down, not good. The audio wasn't synced up, and I don't know if that was our fault, where our boat was positioned, but still, it shouldn't be a possibility. It's Disney. It shouldn't be a possibility for any of the boats. So yeah, shit tier on that. Same with Frozen Ever After, to be quite honest. Like, it wasn't, like, as bad as Journey to Imagination or Grand Fiesta Tour, but, like, it replaced Maelstrom, which was one of my favorite rides ever. And the animatronics looked like they do this technology. Sorry, I'm, like, really thirsty. They use this technology that, like, projects, like, animated CG faces onto animatronics, and it looks really off and gross, and, like, it just kind of sours the whole experience. And there's not much good tech. Like, seeing this is one of the newest rides, and, like, seeing how there's, like, not, they really put all of their baskets into the into that animatronic style with the CG faces, and it doesn't look good at all. So I think I'm gonna go with shit tier for this one as well. Pirates of the Caribbean, gonna be completely honest, a little bit underwhelming. I don't know if it was because that's how tired I was. I couldn't really smell the water, which kind of soured the experience a bit. And I'm not saying this is bad by any means. This is a great dark ride with a ton of detail, but I think I'm gonna put it at mid-tier. I think that's where it lives for me. I'd say, pretty equal in terms of level of enjoyment to Soarin', so I think it makes sense to live there. Was there a Davy Jones face on this? I felt like there was, like, a little waterfall right before you go into the drop, and Davy Jones' face was there, and then you drop. But it wasn't there when I went, so I wonder if they took it out. People were, like, gaslighting me and saying it wasn't there. Reflections of China, don't remember enough. Is it even still open? American Adventure, same situation. Really impressed with the tech on it. What more I read about it and listen about it, but yeah, I can't. What is that? I can't. Oh, it's another Circle Vision, so don't remember clearly. Canada, same shit. All the Circle Vision. Happy they turned Canada into a bar. Okay, I went on Star Tours again. They've replaced it again, and now it is Rise of Skywalker themed, which I guess is interesting, but, like, really it's an unnecessary ride. Like, I love the queue, and I love the, like, 80s atmosphere. The cast member was shit talking, which is always fun. It's a walk-on ride now that Galaxy's Edge exists, so, but overall, I would, I still had a good time. I got a little nauseous from the tech. Sad that they replaced Rex with C-3PO, but, what are you going to do? Overall, I still had fun with it. I think with the theming and everything, like, you know what? Like, I'll put it in mid-tier. It was a fun time. Epic Stunt Spectacular. I remember being boring as fuck, but, don't remember clearly. Muppet Vision 3D. This is a fun little ride, a fun little show. A little nice, entertaining, like 15-minute or so break. A lot quicker than I remembered as a child. Yeah, it was fun. I'd put it at mid-tier. Toy Story Midway Mania. This was a fun ride, fun competition ride. It really hurts your arm. I'm starting to lose steam here. There's a lot of rides here. It really hurts your arm, just over and over again, like shooting like that. I wish there was, like, another tier here. I feel like some of these are, like, mid-tier, but not. Like, maybe I gotta move some of these to low tier, but, I'll put it in mid-tier now. It was a fun little competitive ride. More, like, similar in that Men in Black Buzz Lightyear range, but definitely the better of the two. Is that the Slinky Coaster? That was fun. A lot of great Imagineering detail on the queue and, like, the ride design. But overall, it's like a kiddie coaster, and it's a fun kiddie coaster. A little bit more extreme than some other kiddie coasters, but, that's what it is. Like, that's what you're getting. Yeah, the Imagineering attention to detail is awesome. But, yeah, I think it sits firmly in mid-tier for me. Swirling Saucers, I don't know what the fuck that is. Haven't been on, I guess. Chanted Tiki Room. Okay. I enjoyed this. Incredibly outdated. The humor is incredibly outdated. It's all, like, 50s, 60s humor. I just loved seeing how many animatronics were in the room. There were hundreds of animatronics going at once. So many that you would just hear the clicking. It was just click, 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 like every second. And I love that like cacophony of clicking of the animatronics. I love that this still exists. You know, this feels like something that they would have like torn out, and I know they replaced it with Disney like birds like Zazu and like Iago at some point, but then they turned it back. But like, I think the fact that this still exists is part of the novelty in itself. Like, this is like a 50s-esque ride that should have been gone by the 70s, and like, it's still around and it's still kicking, and the birds are still, animatronics are still clicking away. The fact that I wasn't allowed to eat my Dole Whip inside of it is kind of like, like I feel like eating the Dole Whip while watching the show is probably part of the experience, but I enjoyed it. It was probably a mid-tier for me. Gotta really like clean this up and probably move some stuff to low tier, but I'll do that again. Oh, maybe this was the show. Yeah, this seems like the Hollywood Studios, and that's where I remembered it being section. So I'm gonna say I haven't been on this, and I'm gonna move this to don't remember clearly. What is this? Is this? I can't see. Is this the Great Movie Ride? Or is this One Man's Dream? Can I open the image in a new tab and maybe like zoom in on it? It's One Man's Dream. Okay. Haven't been on that. Tower of Terror. This was a very fun ride. It traumatized me as a child. When I went on this as a 5-year-old, I was so destroyed by it that it ruined my whole day, and I was crying, and it was just absolutely torturous. Horrible experience as a kid, but now as an adult, I'm just so glad it's here. Like, it's such a fun ride. Like, the tone completely changed for me. Like, when I was a kid, it was like the scariest thing ever, and now it's like the tone is nothing but fun. It's like similar to like a Haunted Mansion-esque tone where it's just nothing but fun. And yeah, I'm glad it's still here and not replaced with Guardians of the Galaxy like they're doing with Ellen's Energy Adventure. So yeah, I'm just glad it exists, and I'm glad it's another one of those where I'm like glad it's here. And you know what? I think it usurps the mid tier and goes to high tier just because of how much pure fun it is. And obviously keeping the Twilight Zone theming and not replacing Guardians of the Galaxy gives it a step up. So yeah, that's sitting in high tier for me. Rock and Roller Coaster. Somehow I'd not been on this until this trip. This is first of all, it doesn't feel like a Disney ride. It feels like a Universal ride. Second of all, it's a defunct ride walking. I don't know how the hell they still have Aerosmith in there as the theming from like the 90s now. No one gives a fuck about Aerosmith anymore. But, and it definitely had the vibes, the design, the queue, the pre-show, all of that definitely felt very Universal. It definitely felt out of place at Disney. But then, isn't MGM trying to be Disney's Universal? I think I'm gonna have to say though, like, it was a very fun coaster. It was a very good coaster. And putting such an extreme coaster at Disney is weird, but then putting it in the dark gives it very much Space Mountain vibes. And you know what? I think I enjoyed this going on this as much as I enjoyed going on Space Mountain. So I think that just has to put it at high tier, right? I'd be tempted to move it to mid tier, but like, I enjoyed it more than Muppet Vision 3D and Star Tours. So like, Beauty and the Beast show. I remember this being great as a child, but it gets thrown into don't remember clearly. I can't really just a little bit. Same with Stuff to Be a Bug. Oh, we're in Animal Kingdom territory now. Do we not? Oh, there's some Magic Kingdom at the bottom. Like, I feel like there's a lot of Magic Kingdom rides we didn't touch. Haven't been on any of the Avatar rides. Kilimanjaro Safari. I blur in my head what I remember from the Busch Gardens one versus this one. So I think I'm going to move it to don't remember clearly. Expedition Everest. I remember this. I went on the last one on high school on a trip to Animal Kingdom, and I remember it. It is a god tier. It is possibly the best queue in the parks, period. It is such a fun coaster. The theming is incredible. Just the whole twist where you get up there and the track's broken, you get sent backwards into the darkness. The Yeti animatronic hopping around, doing its shit. Just the whole theming, the whole build up to it. The best queue ever with so much dense lore and Easter eggs. And everything you possibly, like, being stuck on that queue for a couple hours is like a gift. Like, because it doesn't, like, when it moves quickly, it's like impossible to take everything in. Like, so yeah, it's like going to a museum in that sense, where you just want to, like, read in and soak in everything. And that's why it gets a God tier. Just, like, it has a fairly recent memory within the past 10 years. So I feel like I can rank it. So Stanley Robinson Treehouse. Haven't been on that, I don't think. Cali River Rapids. I remember that being fun, but, you know, it's, like, been way over 10 years, so there's an upride at Animal Kingdom. Definitely haven't been on that. Dinosaur. Do not remember clearly. I could not tell you what anything that happens on that ride, but I know I've been on it. Primeval Whirl, I remember that being kind of shit. It's just like a shitty kid coaster with like a lot of twisting. Haven't been on Triceratops Spin. I assume that's like a Dumbo Aladdin clone. Big Thunder Mountain. I haven't been on this in a long time, so I'm tempted to put in Don't Remember It Clearly, but I do remember it clearly. Like, it was, it's a fun coaster, like, but I definitely say it's my least favorite of the three mountains, so I'll put it at mid tier. But it's fun, good theming, you know. Country Bear Jamboree, I want to put this high, but I don't remember clearly. Okay, this is another interesting one. Because in my head, this was like the best ride ever. This was an S tier, God tier, whatever you want to call it, all the way. I just remember like it being like such an involved story and like such a detailed, like incredible, like quintessential Disney experience. And when I went on it again, was not really what I remembered so fondly. A lot of the animatronics were very run down, not very moving and detailed. I felt that, like, the audio was kind of muffled. We were a bit out of sync with the audio, so it was a little bit hard. You don't really get wet, which was interesting. A lot shorter than I remembered, a lot less build-up than I remembered, a lot less emphasis on the plot than I remembered. You know, everything was more grandiose about it when I was a kid. Like, the whole build-up, toward the end when it gets all dark and the vultures are talking to you, and you go up and there's like the dramatic music and the drop, and it has like a triumphant finale. You know, all of that is still like awesome, you know, like, but it's definitely like weaker than I remembered, and less like robust and less triumphant and less like scary when it's supposed to be scary as I remembered. So it's still a very solid ride, and because it's going away soon, like, I have to like keep that in mind. But it would have been God tier before, and I think it's going to go down to mid tier now. I think that's where I'm going to sit it. I feel comfortable there. Tom Sawyer Island. This was sick. It's one of those things that I'm just so happy it exists. It's just like you take this little raft out onto this island that's in like a lake in the middle of the park. And I've never been there, and it's just exploration. No rides, no staff, no nothing. It's just you just explore cave systems, you explore old forts. There's all these different Easter eggs around, like the anti-gravity room, and like you walk in those caves, and there's no fucking adults around. So like, you know, like there's no like. You know, obviously there's probably cameras everywhere, and like if anyone gets hurt, there's gonna be a staff there in a second. But like, you know, like how it appears to a child is like there is no one there. You are on your own exploring, and you know, I feel like I could spend like an afternoon, like a couple hours there. We spent like half hour there, but like, you know, I feel like it's like there's just so much to explore. There's just so much like. It just gives you that sense of like you're just exploring on your own. And sure, there's other guests on the island, but when it's like a quiet day, like the day we went, like there was just a lot of it felt empty. Like when we were going through those caves, like you felt like you were on your own. You felt like you were really in a private place, and you were just exploring by yourself. It gave me very much Breath of the Wild vibes in that sense. Very like, you know, a calm, like sort of tranquil but sort of creepy and thrilling exploration vibe, and I loved it, and I'm very glad it exists, and I'm gonna put it at high tier for that reason. Jungle Cruise, don't remember clearly. We haven't been on it. Festival of the Lion King, I don't think I've been on it ever. Not even the musical, fuck that. I've never been on that. Haunted Mansion. We didn't go on it this time, so I have to put it don't remember clearly. Now comes the adjustments. Okay. Because my God tier is a little light. So. Okay, I think I'll work my way, like, down. Like, these will stay in low tier, I think. The mid tier and the high tier is where it gets a little blurry. Like, that's cement mid tier, mid tier, mid tier, mid tier, mid tier, mid tier. I agree with all these. Mid tier, mid tier, mid tier. Yeah, all of these fit mid tier. So let's go to the high tier. I really enjoyed Rock and Roller Coaster, but like in the wake of some of the titans that are up here, am I going to say this is as good as Carousel of Progress and Living at the Land, Space Mountain? No. Like in terms of like aesthetic and theming, I'm going to have to move it to mid tier. Sorry. Okay. I'm tempted to move Carousel of Progress to God tier. It was my favorite ride in Magic Kingdom. And, like, you know, I kind of want to have one of each park. And I'm going to get to the Galaxy's Edge rides here. So, like, that, I feel comfortable, I think, moving this up to God tier. Space Mountain is another question of when I want to move this to God tier, but like, you know, I enjoyed Expedition Everest more than I like Space Mountain, so like that has to account for something, right? As like a coaster. Okay, I think I feel comfortable with this. Now that I'm done sorting, I think I'm going to remove the don't remember clearly and haven't been on rows, just like, you know, for the sake of cleanness, so we could see like the final ranking here. But there were a couple more rides at Galaxy's Edge that aren't on here that I'm going to just verbally rank. I'm going to start with Rise of the Resistance, which is the big shebang. I'm sorry. And, you know, I'm not saying this as a Star Wars fan, even though I am an incredible Star Wars... I'm, like, a huge Star Wars fan. Possibly even more so than I'm a Disney Parks fan. But, yeah, it is the best ride Disney's ever made. It is almost every... I don't want to... There is actually spoilable. This is, like, the first ride ever that I would say, like, it is spoilable. Like, be careful. Incredible queue. And interestingly, it is like an experience versus a ride. Is every ride system in one. It's a simulator, it's a show, it's a walkthrough ride, it is a dark ride, it is a thrill ride, and it is a like 3D. It is like every possible ride you can think of. I don't even think there were 3D glasses on this, so yeah, forget that. The animatronics are god tier animatronics. Interesting theories that the Kylo Ren animatronic is actually the Wicked Witch animatronic. When the Kylo Ren scene, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's one of the Wicked Witch animatronic, the great movie ride. But Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad isn't here, so I'll talk about that too. But yeah, it is the best ride Disney's ever made. I don't think there's much else I could say without spoiling it, but that's definitely a definite god tier. And the other Galaxy's Edge ride is Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, which is incredibly good. It's like, it is a game as well as a ride, like, and it is a video game in the sense that each person in your crew, lucky for us it was just me and my friends, has a role. and each of you has to fulfill that role, and the outcome of the ride changes the plot toward the end, and of course when you're leaving the ride, and the audio and everything changes depending on how well you do at your roles. And there's gameplay. Like, it is a video game, but it is also a ride at the same time. And there's really nothing like it. Like, I can't say, like, Men in Black or, like, Toy Story Mania is like that, because it's really not. It's, like, really, it's a story, but it's, like, it is literally, like, if you turned a Disney ride into a video game that you were actively playing the ride. And, of course, like, you know, deep cut Hondo Ohnaka animatronic, like, obscure characters from Clone Wars and Rebels as an animatronic in Disney that you know, like, you know, I don't think it's as good as Rise of the Resistance, of course, in a technical level way, but it's also a god tier ride. I'm gonna have to put that up there as well. So I'll put in Savi's. I'll talk about Savi's workshop, the lightsaber building workshop. I didn't do the droid workshop. It is an awesome experience. It is super cool. I thought it was definitely worth the money. You get a really nice product. But I'll put it at high tier instead of god tier, because I felt like the experience from a pure experiential standpoint, like Rise of the Resistance and Smugglers Run, were just a lot more like incredible experiences. And don't get me wrong, this was an incredible experience, but it just didn't have the exact level of weight of those two, so I'm going to put it at high tier. Oh yeah, and I'll talk about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. Very sad it replaced the Great Movie Ride. That's kind of a trash decision, replacing the main core ride of the park with like a character ride that could have been at any other park. Needless to say, it is still a great ride. It is definitely like the beta test. You could tell it's the beta test for like Rise of the Resistance. Like, this is where they were ironing out the tech before they went for the big whammy. It was like the trial run. It definitely gave off vibes like that. They're like, okay, we're going to try out some of the trackless tech. We're going to try out some of the visuals, some of the changing backgrounds, changing physical backgrounds, things like that. The juxtaposition of animation onto the changing physical backgrounds. Like, they were trying out all these techniques, trackless, everything like that. And it's a solid ride. Honestly, you know, like, it was very good. Like, I'm thinking it's high tier, to be honest, even though it replaced the quintessential ride of the park. But yeah, so that would leave us with like Rise of the Resistance and Smugglers Run up here as well. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad here, Lightsaber Building Workshop here. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with this list. Yeah, thanks for watching. Good night.